We are going to have Poker Fraud Alert listener A. Hoosier A. We're going to have Kevin Davis back. Remember, he was the YouTube scam exposer, the guy who's been going after Christopher Mitchell and now other scammers that he sees on YouTube related to gambling. We're going to have him back on, all for a reason. We're going to have Rick Lee, who was one of Christopher Mitchell's former customers, and not a very happy one. We're going to hear from him. We've talked about him before. We're going to have some friend of Kevin Davis's on, who's a blackjack expert who wants to be on for some reason. And but that's fine. If he has something to add, he can add. And we're going to talk to all those at once about an incident that occurred. Well, we're going to talk about two things. An incident that occurred where Christopher Mitchell thinks that A. Hoosier A. is Kevin Davis, which he's not. I've met A. Hoosier A. I didn't know Kevin Davis until a few weeks ago. They're two completely different people. They're not even close to the same age. But Christopher Mitchell thought that he discovered who Kevin Davis is. I'll tell you how this happened. Thought it was A. Hoosier A. and doxed A. Hoosier A. to get him back, believing it was his enemy Kevin Davis. What a screw-up on Christopher's part. An idiotic screw-up, too. So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to have them on at the same time, so you'll be able to tell that it's two different people. I know Christopher Mitchell is going to listen, so hopefully this will finally make him realize the error of his ways. So we're going to have that. We're going to also talk to Rick Lee, who was a Christopher Mitchell customer. Wanted to have him on here. I want to tell you what happened here with A. Hoosier A. I felt very bad for him. He was trying to do something that was nice. He saw a commenter on one of Christopher Mitchell's videos. Remember, Christopher Mitchell is the guy we've talked about for the last month or so, who does those scam blackjack and baccarat videos where he's selling a system which you can either buy from him like on paper or on a file, or he can personally coach you for some more money. And the problem is his system is crap. His system is just very simply a martingale betting system, which has been proven many times mathematically not to work. It's a negative EV system. It's a system that is going to decimate your bankroll if you do it for any length of time. And he also has some idiotic modifications to his game, like especially with blackjack, just total idiotic modifications that will just really make you lose badly. And he's selling this as if it's an incredible system that always wins. And just in case you think, well, maybe he really believes it wins, no, he's making outrageous claims that every time he goes in the casino, he averages a $5,000 win, that he wins almost every single session, just things that are absolutely impossible. So obviously this is a scam, and we've talked about this for the last few weeks. I won't rehash the whole thing. You can go through those segments we've done over the last month about Christopher Mitchell if you want to learn more about him and you haven't heard about him before. But there's a guy named Kevin Davis. We had him on here for a lengthy interview, I believe, 3 weeks ago. And Kevin Davis has been relentlessly exposing Christopher Mitchell. Like, relentlessly. Almost every day, Kevin Davis puts out a new video exposing something about Christopher Mitchell, whether it's a current claim Christopher's making, or debunking some claim about being a winner, or debunking Christopher Mitchell's systems, or stories about Christopher Mitchell's past, such as when he was in gay porn, or stories about Christopher Mitchell's wife and stuff she was involved with. Like Kevin Davis has been relentlessly exposing him. Christopher Mitchell calls Kevin Davis a stalker. I don't agree. Kevin Davis has been very relentless in what he's been doing, and he has been researching tons of info on Christopher Mitchell, but he's been doing it for a good reason. He's been doing this to expose the scam and to hopefully prevent victims from falling prey to this. He's trying to save people money. He's doing something similar to what we do on this show with scammers everywhere. We try to alert you what to avoid. So Kevin Davis is doing that, except where we do this with a whole lot of different people and sites, and we don't focus on one thing here. Kevin Davis was hyper-focused on Christopher Mitchell. In the last week or so, he's actually branched out to talk about some other YouTube scammers, and he has a channel called YouTube Scam Exposers. YouTube Scam Exposers is Kevin Davis's channel. And it's kind of funny. He does this in an entertaining manner, and then Christopher Mitchell gets really frustrated by it and sometimes responds to it, and they kind of go back and forth, and then Christopher will think better of it and delete the videos. Kevin never deletes his videos, so those are always up there. So the whole thing's entertaining, too. And I've been following it. It's been an interesting thing to watch. And I don't watch that many YouTube channels, but I've been watching this. Well, it was all fun and games until this past Sunday. because one of our listeners, who I've met in person, he goes by A. Hoosier A. His real name is Lee. And as I said, he is someone I've met. I met him once at the World Series of Poker. He moved from across the country to live in Las Vegas last year. And a nice guy. In fact, he and I had some tentative plans to go hike at Mount Charleston last year during the World Series, because it's like 30 degrees cooler up there. It's not like it is in the rest of Vegas in the summer. But it didn't happen because I was so busy at the World Series, because I was making it deep in like every event I was playing, at least deep into the day I was playing. So I had very little free time there, so I never got to take that hike with him. But anyway, he tried to do something nice, and he found a commenter named Robert Helsley on Christopher Mitchell's videos. And on one of them, Robert Helsley had talked about how he's going to meet up with Christopher for coaching in July. And Robert indicated he's an older man, so A. Hoosier A. felt bad for him and decided to see if he could find Robert Helsley on Facebook and contact him and say, hey, just want to let you know you shouldn't come out to Vegas in July because the guy coaching you is a scammer. The guy's going to sell you a crap system that doesn't work and charge you for it, and you're going to lose a lot of money both in the casino and to Christopher himself paying for useless coaching that is actually inaccurate. So he tried to warn him. He tried to warn what seemed like a nice but gullible older man that Christopher is scamming him. Well, the problem, and this is why it's so easy to scam a lot of people who are elderly, and it's very sad, but scammers love the elderly. And the reason they love the elderly is, number one, the elderly are not quite as sharp as they used to be. Even very sharp elderly people are still not quite as sharp as they were when they were, say, 40 years old. Even if you can't tell by talking to them. Very few people will have the exact same mental ability when they're 75, 80 that they did when they were 40. Even if the degradation is slight, there's always a degradation. But then for some people, the degradation is a lot more than slight. For some elderly people are really out of it. I'm sure you've known many. You probably had some in your family. Maybe some grandparents at some point that were really out of it and barely knew what was going on. Or maybe they were functional enough to live by themselves, but they were very gullible and easy to trick because they just couldn't think critically anymore, with their mind changing as their body ages. So for that reason, scammers love the elderly, and the elderly have been, for as long as scammers have been around, the most common victims. So when you think someone who's older is getting scammed, you feel very bad for them and you want to help them. You want to say, hey, watch out. But the problem is, when you do this, sometimes it still doesn't work, because there's something else that is common to many older people, and that is they are stubborn. Why are they stubborn? Well, it's part of something that just kind of happens with age. It's also that they're aware that people think they don't know what they're doing because they're older. Even if the people are right, they still think, oh, they just think I'm an old person. They don't respect my judgment. So they don't like anyone telling them what to do. They don't like anyone treating them like they're stupid or treating them like they're not capable anymore, because they remember when they were 45 years old and they were very capable and very successful in many cases. So they don't like when they're 75 years old and they're being told, you can't do this anymore, or this person's tricking you, this person's bamboozling you. You're the sucker here. They don't like hearing that, because they still want to see themselves as capable and just as good mentally as they were when they were younger. So they will get very stubborn about it and say, no, I know what I'm doing. This is fine. You don't have to take care of me. I can take care of myself. I got to this age and nothing happened to me. Look how well I've done. So you can't tell me this. And there's also a matter of just being told what to do by someone a lot younger than you. And it's hard for me to picture that one day, like people my son's age, not actually at that age, but people who are currently my son's age, like him, will be telling me what to do when I get very old. I'm used to it being the other way around, that I feel like I know more than kids do, and I'm a lot wiser than kids are, and I'm the one who has to tell them what to watch out for. It would feel weird to have them tell me what to watch out for. So for all these reasons, the elderly are good scam victims for scammers, and it's very sad. You really have to lack any kind of moral foundation to want to scam the elderly, because often you're taking their bottom dollar. They don't have a way to make the money back, any kind of scam is bad, but to target the elderly, it's just like to target the elderly or to target children. It's just, of course, people don't target children for scams because they don't have any money to be scammed. But anything like that, where you're victimizing people who are very vulnerable because of their age, is just so heartless, and I hate seeing that. And I know A. Hoosier A. hated seeing that too. So he contacted Robert Helsley and tried to tell him, and then what did Robert Helsley do? He went and told Christopher Mitchell and sent him a copy of everything that A. Hoosier A. sent, including links to this site with my name mentioned, which is fine. I don't mind that A. Hoosier A. mentioned me. It's not like I've made a secret out of my segments about Christopher Mitchell or what I think about him. But that was in there too. Now, there's been some theories that maybe it wasn't really Robert Helsley, that while Robert Helsley really is a potential customer of Christopher Mitchell's, that the account may be a duplicate account that Christopher Mitchell made in Robert Helsley's name, and that it was actually Christopher Mitchell that A. Hoosier A. was talking to. I don't know. I did see some suspicious things that Kevin Davis showed on his video. There were like 3 different Bob Helsley accounts that were clearly all the same guy, and like, why would he have 3 Facebook accounts? But who knows? It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is it is true that there is a Robert Helsley, an older guy who is potentially a customer of Christopher Mitchell, and that when A. Hoosier A. tried to contact him, that somehow, either because it was Christopher himself or because Robert Helsley contacted him, he got a copy of everything that was said and knew that A. Hoosier A. was trying to do this. And A. Hoosier A. did this under his real name. Well, Christopher Mitchell, who really is somewhat delusional, he really believed that he got Kevin Davis here. He thought, oh, so that's Kevin Davis's real name. It's this guy Lee. Well, I figured it out. He could not wrap his head around the possibility that there could be more than one person who is trying to expose him. He thinks that anyone who's trying to expose him for being a scammer is either Christopher Mitchell, or no, is either Kevin Davis or someone that Kevin Davis has paid or browbeat into saying what he wants. He doesn't think anybody honestly wants to expose him except for Kevin Davis. He really thinks everything is Kevin Davis. So he thinks if somebody's going to contact a potential customer of his and warn him, that it has to be Kevin Davis, that nobody else in the world would ever do that for any reason, which is absurd. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So Christopher Mitchell, thinking that he finally found his nemesis, because Kevin Davis has been very mysterious. It's been very hard to find. There's no pictures of him. Christopher Mitchell wishes he had the guy's personal information. He hates him with a passion. He probably hates him more than anybody he hates in the world, but he can't find him. So he thought he finally found him. So he sprung into action and, first of all, Googled everything he could find, and actually found some YouTube videos that A. Hoosier A. had made back in 2018, him and his wife, just very, harmless stuff, nothing even about gambling, just about, I don't know, just some kind of general videos he did with his wife about their relationship or whatever. As I said, it's nothing that exciting, probably not even worth watching. Sorry, A. Hoosier A. I actually haven't watched them. When I say not worth watching, I mean it's nothing that people are going to find and go, oh my God, this is amazing. It's just, it's just someone making a personal video about his life with his wife. But he found these by Googling him. He heard A. Hoosier A.'s voice, and right there, that should have been the end of it. He should have been able to tell that voice is very different from Kevin Davis's, and Kevin Davis has a pretty distinct voice. You've heard him on here. So clearly, it's not the same guy. That should have been it. Okay, well, that was a good theory, but different voices, okay. Instead, he convinced himself that it was the same voice, and then he actually hired a private investigator to look up all the information that this PI could find on A. Hoosier A. And he lied to the PI. He told the PI that he's at the police station, but in order to file a report, he needs a lot of information, otherwise the police aren't going to take this seriously. So the PI thought they were sending information to Christopher Mitchell while he's at the police station to give to the police. So they sent him a confidential report including a lot of things, including A. Hoosier A.'s Social Security number. Oops, I'm sorry. I had my sound effects switched. That's not what I meant to play. Sorry, it's not funny your SSN got taken, A Hoosier A. I meant this. There we go. Well, I'm really throwing him under the bus. I laughed at his Social Security number being exposed, and I also said his YouTube channel's not worth watching. I'm really sorry. It's totally unintentional, I swear. Yeah, it exposed his Social Security number, and his address, and his date of birth, and his wife's name, and a whole bunch of other information. He held up the confidential report on camera where everyone could pause and see it if they wanted. This remained up for about 6 hours and got about 700 views. Kevin Davis saw this and quickly called the number that was up there of A Hoosier A and warned him. And then A Hoosier A immediately called the detective agency and yelled at them about this. How could you send my social to some random who wanted to use it to harass me? And they were very nervous about this. Here's the call Kevin Davis made to the investigator that he posted up on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, Kevin, we're really busy. I'm happy to help in any way I can regarding this Mitchell guy. You just have to kind of let me know what it is. How can I help you? What do you need?
What grounds did you have to have him investigate a William Bradbury, who he thought he was investigating? And you said, per his video, that you said William Bradbury was impersonating me. This is all.
Kevin, I just had almost a 20-minute conversation with William Bradbury earlier.
Uh-huh. So did I.
Have you? Okay, so what else can I help you with? I mean, I explained to him the situation, and if you guys need to go after Christopher Mitchell, I totally understand. But what else can I help you with?
Well, because he brought up my name in this video that you, in his investigation, that you told him. So I want to know, what grounds did you have to run William Bradbury's? Now, you can't speak to him.
I don't even,
yeah.
Kevin, I don't know who you are. Who are you? How are you part of this situation between Chris Mitchell and William Bradbury?
Because
I've never heard your name before.
Well, that's funny, because in his video, he said that you guys said William Bradbury because I make videos reporting that Christopher Mitchell is a scammer.
Right. I got that part. Yeah,
so he, in his video, he said that he hired you because William Bradbury was pretending to be me.
This is the first I've heard of this. I don't recall him ever saying the name or telling me a name, Kevin someone. So it sounds like you guys have an issue with Christopher Mitchell.
What's that? Well, you guys took his money.
It sounds like the issue.
Go ahead.
Listen, Kevin, I'm gonna tell you what I told William. Okay, we are a licensed professional private investigation firm. I was contacted by Christopher Mitchell. He was at the Las Vegas Police Department. He was filing a police report. He needed additional information on the person he was filing the police report on. He hired my firm to provide him with a background report, which we provided. That's all my involvement. That's it. That's all we did.
So
William Bradbury contacted me this morning, told me that Christopher Mitchell put up a video showing our confidential report. I immediately contacted Mitchell, and Mitchell took the video offline.
But not before 700 people viewed it.
Kevin, again, how can I help you? What do you need? What information do you need?
Again, this ain't my first rodeo dealing with private investigators because of my YouTube videos exposing scammers. I want to know how it is that came about that this person, that you guys all of a sudden ran this guy's because again, the video said my name in it, that you guys, the private investigator that he hired, said that you guys told him that William Bradbury was trying to be me. It's all on video. It's all on video.
I'm going to say it again. Christopher Mitchell contacted my firm, explained that he was being harassed by a William Lee Bradbury, that he was at the police department filing a police report and needed additional information for the report.
Okay, so
I don't know who Kevin is. I was given a name. We conducted a background investigation for the client, and that is the end of it. I don't know who Kevin is.
Well, that would be me. That's who I told the receptionist, and that's who you're speaking with.
I understand, but I never heard of you before.
Well, that's not what the video said.
Kevin, what do you want me to do? I'm giving you more information than I even should, right? So I'm trying to be helpful with you and William because I understand that you guys have an issue with this guy, but I don't know what to tell you. I've never met the guy. It was a request. We provided the service, and that's the end of it. I'm sorry that you guys are spending so much of your time dealing with this guy, but I don't know what else to tell you.
I guess me and William will be taking this to litigation, I guess, because like he said.
I understand. I know. That's what William told me, and that's fine. You guys do whatever you need to do. I'm telling you the truth. There's nothing more that I can tell you.
Well, like William, like I'm sure William said, why was his Social Security number? Well, what was so important about that being put on a background check?
Again, that is part of the background investigation. It's very unfortunate that this Christopher Mitchell guy posted it on YouTube, and I'm probably going to have some issues with him later on as well. Again, that's really all I can tell you.
All right. Well, I guess, like I said, I got the video. William
I
got
understand.
the video.
I know you guys need to do what you got to do. I understand.
We'll be doing what we got to do. So
I understand. I completely understand.
I'm sure we'll be meeting each other probably in court someday.
Kevin, if that's what's going to happen, I like I said, I understand.
You gave a well-known scammer somebody's Social Security number, all because he said he was in the police department. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, do you guys need money that bad? You didn't have to give the Social Security number to this guy, and he puts it on blast. And don't sit there and say, well, I'm giving you more information than I should. You guys screwed up. You gave the guy, you have no bit. You should have done a background check on Christopher Mitchell first before you ran. You guys took this guy's money, all because he said he was in a police department. So don't sit there and say, well, if that's what we got to do. That's what's going to happen.
So Kevin claimed they hung up on him at that point, and he brought up some good points, like why was the Social Security number provided at all if the reason to find out this information on William Lee Bradbury, a.k.a. Hoosier A, that he thought was Kevin Davis, if the reason for that was to give to the police, then why is the Social Security number even necessary? And if they were going to give the Social Security number, why not do at least a little bit of a check on who Christopher Mitchell is and why he might really need this? Because it's not trivial to just hand out someone's Social Security number because they give you some crazy story about needing to go to the police. So that was some questionable behavior on the detective's part, and you could tell they were a bit nervous. And then finally they hung up when Kevin really gave them the business at the end. Kind of a funny phone call in a way.
And is it illegal for a licensed PI to do that? Is he in jeopardy?
Well, okay, so we were looking into that, and it looks like it is only if they know why they're doing it. In fact, this was often a plot in the Rockford Files. If any of you watched that show back in the 70s. I was just about
to ask if Jim Rockford could do it.
Yeah, Jim Rockford, this happened to him all the time, where he would be hired for something, and then it would turn out that he was actually hired to find out something for the mob so they could kill someone. And a lot of times he was brought in to research information, which was supposedly for a noble purpose, and then it turns out that he was hired by criminals, and then he tries to fix the situation because he feels bad about what he's caused here. So that there's a number of plots in the show about that. So the truth is, this does happen to PIs all the time, where people go to the PI and say, oh, I need the info for this reason because I'm being victimized in this way or that way, and then it turns out that these are actually criminals who are usually are going to use the information for nefarious purposes. So for that reason, the PI probably isn't exposed that much. Maybe for not doing a little bit of due diligence, like he claimed it is at the police station. Why didn't they call up and speak to a police officer and make sure this is really happening? They just took his word for it that he's at the police station. Here it is. But they can probably worm their way out of this one. Christopher Mitchell, it's a different story, but the video did come down after about 6 hours because the PI yelled at him. The PI said, you really screwed us. You were furious about this. And they yelled, and Christopher's like, okay, I'll take it down. But later on, Christopher made a video still saying that Lee was actually Kevin Davis. So he didn't even take back. He didn't say, hey, that was a mistake. The PI believed it was a mistake by the time he talked to Lee and Kevin Davis. But Christopher is so delusional that he still believed, and I don't know if he still believes it, but he believed like a day later that he still got it right. And he said he only took the video down because the PI yelled at him about it because they were harassing the PI. There's crazy stuff here. I feel really bad for A. Hoosier A because he's not Kevin Davis. Now, yes, he was trying to warn one of Christopher Mitchell's victims. And the problem is Christopher Mitchell knows that. So even if Christopher Mitchell realizes that it's not Kevin Davis, he may still be angry going, well, sure, okay, it's not Kevin Davis, but it's still some asshole trying to ruin my business here. But the truth is, he wasn't trying to ruin his business. A. Hoosier A was trying to do something very noble and was trying to contact an elderly potential victim. And everything he said was true. I saw what A. Hoosier A said, and it was basically linking to the Poker Fraud Alert thread about Christopher Mitchell and was explaining that the martingale system doesn't work. It's been proven not to work, and it's an old scheme going back decades that has been proven many times mathematically to be BS and negative expectation, and that Christopher Mitchell doesn't really know how to teach you to win in gambling, and that you're going to lose all your money if you follow it. I mean, that's basically what he said. And he said, look, if you want to see on Poker Fraud Alert, this is where they break the whole thing down, and this is a site run by professional poker player Todd Wittelis, who always calls out scams and is very knowledgeable about gambling. So it's really too bad that. I mean, it's one thing if Christopher Mitchell found this out and said, "Hey, this jerk Lee has been trying to get in the way of my business," because at least Lee knew that risk. Lee knew there was a chance when he went to this Bob Helsley guy that Bob Helsley would go back to Christopher and that he would be called out for it. It's not like I wouldn't still feel bad for Lee because he's trying to do the right thing, but at least there he knew he was risking maybe getting back to Christopher. But if he's being blamed for relentlessly going after Christopher as Kevin has, which he hasn't, so that he's getting blamed for things he didn't do. And even though I don't think what Kevin Davis has been doing is wrong, because again it's to expose what's going on here. The bottom line is Lee has not been relentlessly going after Christopher. It was just that one thing. It has been Kevin Davis going after him. They're two different people. So with all that said, we're going to connect on these various people involved.
Hello, I'm sleeping.
All right. Good night. All right, Kevin Davis, welcome to Poker Fraud Alert Radio. Sorry, we've got a little late here. I wanted to get everybody up to speed with a story. And
I hear you.
We're going to get Lee on the phone here. I know you're the one who first noticed this was happening. I was sleeping. See, this occurred on Sunday morning last week, and I had just gone to bed because I had just done a very long Poker Fraud Alert show, about 7 and something hours, and I was sleeping, and then you noticed the Christopher Mitchell video. It was a live program, right? He was doing it live?
Yeah, he was doing it live, but somebody tipped me off. Said, "Hey, man, this guy thinks he's you," and he's doxing the wrong guy. So at first I got on, I was just laughing. We were kind of laughing in our forum, but then I'm like, the joke's over. I found out, his social security number and all that shit. So
yeah, that was pretty
bad.
Then
I went back and I saw the report, and that's when I saw the number and reached out to him and warned him.
Yeah, I'm glad you warned him. And I heard you played the call, you recorded the call, and then played it with his permission on your channel. And you can tell it was very authentic. You called him up. See, Christopher thinks this is all set up, that it was either you changing your voice or having a friend do it or some BS like that, where you're just staging this call, telling him you discovered it. And that's part of the reason we're doing this segment. I know Christopher's going to listen. It's part of the reason why we're doing this segment, so he can hear on this show.
Yeah, he's listening now. Yeah. Hi, Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher, you can call in, or Stacy, his wife, she can call in if she wants. I think she's texted me before. She won't say it's her, but I think it's her.
Well, Christopher gave me a personal invite to his house, thinking I'm fat and out of shape. So, hey, I got that in my back pocket. We're going to use that one day, maybe.
All right, Lee, hello.
Hey, Todd, how's it going?
Good. So that's
Lee. Hey, who is that? I'm Lee.
Is
that Kevin?
Hey. I think that's you, producer.
All right, now that I got his voice, I have to tune in my voice changer. Got to make sure my voice changer's proper tone.
Yeah, the sad thing is every time you say something like this, it's going to convince Christopher. I knew it. See, Kevin's admitting to it. I knew it. He's going to say.
Yeah. This retard, he'll do a live stream. And they're like, yeah, that was a setup call. You're right. He did voice changer. And Christopher's like, yeah, see, it's like the blind leading the blind, the retard brain, leading the brain dead. So the thing is, he's a professional scammer. So what is he going to do? He's never admitted to anything wrong or any lies. He ain't going to start now.
Yeah, I know, and that's a problem. Is that he's never going to admit that he got this wrong. So at best, he's just going to let it go and pretend it never happened. He's not going to say, folks, I realize I got this one incorrect. Lee did try to contact a guy who I'm going to coach with, but it is not Kevin Davis. I'm sorry I put his Social Security number out there, folks. This Kevin Davis guy's really gotten me frustrated, and it just made me jump on the wrong guy, folks. So I'm sorry. People make mistakes, folks. He's not going to do that. It's going to either never mention again or he just sticks to this.
Got himself in some hot water, I know that. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, I heard you got a lot of listeners, a lot of traffic tonight. That's cool.
Yeah, tonight we got extra people. It could be from you, or it could be also from the fact that people knew we were going to be on and talk about the Bill Perkins situation that's ongoing tonight. So okay, so I'm going to call Rick Lee's number. I know you gave this to me before. We've got to scroll up and get it. Okay, so we'll put him on here.
Hello,
Rick Lee. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Todd?
Yeah, hi. So good to have you on the show. We're definitely going to talk about your situation after we talk about Lee's situation. All right, so we got a lot of people on here. It's probably better we didn't get Vintage One to co-host tonight because we got a million people on this phone. It's like a party line. Okay.
Well, I told all my friends and family. So.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about just like on the phone here. We have a million people on. Okay. So Lee, are you back?
Yeah, is this the asshole that laughs at people having my Social Security number and makes fun of my YouTube channel?
That's who it would be.
Listen, Kevin, I've had enough of your lip over this past week.
I was thinking.
Hey, Lee.
I was thinking the stuff I said about Lee here accidentally. I was thinking maybe I should edit this out in the archives, and I go, no, let's just leave it. First of all, I'm going to have you guys each say the same sentence so Christopher Mitchell can hear it and hear if it's the same person or not. So you can go first, Kevin. Kevin, say, I don't believe in the martingale strategy.
Christopher, go fuck yourself because I don't believe in the martingale strategy.
Okay. Now,
because it doesn't work.
Okay, Lee, go ahead. You say it.
I don't believe in the martingale strategy.
Okay, so see, it's two different guys, clearly. I mean, these are not the same person. And here, I'm going to do one more thing. You guys can both talk at once. When I say three.
The fact that, I know, but the fact that we're even entertaining this is ridiculous.
I know, but I
fuck him.
It's almost like we're stooping to his retard's level to try to make them believe it. And the thing is, if the sky's blue and Christopher tells you he's retards, it's purple, they're going to believe it's retard.
I know, but here's the thing, is that, first of all, I want there to be like no doubt this way if any of his followers listen to this, that they know he's full of crap and that he victimized an innocent man by putting up his social up there, stupidly thinking it was you. So here, when I say three, both of you at the same time say Baccarat, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Baccarat.
There we go.
This guy's clearly a fucking idiot, though.
I cannot believe we're doing this.
No, I can't either. Okay. It feels weird.
Yeah,
I
pretty
agree.
ridiculous.
I agree it's weird. But this
the only people that believe him now are a 220 volt or whatever the volt that plugs into life support. They're literally breathing on electricity. That's about as much of his viewers or believers left.
Yeah, and it's Christopher, I know you're listening to this. Please just come out and clarify it. And look, if you want to say that Lee contacted one of your customers to try to convince him not to work for you, at least that's telling the truth. At least Lee really did that. But But don't say he was Kevin Davis. He wasn't. Lee didn't know anything about you until hearing about you from my show. So it was through this show he learned about it.
Let's get this over. Christopher, I know you're listening. I got a police report because I got friends here in sunny South Florida. And I did file a FBI because I've been down this road. Not my first rodeo. Now, whether they do something or not, it's up to them. But because you got Bob Hesley involved, and I spoke to his son and all kinds of shit now, whether Bob Hesley is in on you or not with his 3 Facebook accounts, you're fucked, my man. You're fucked. You can go around thinking I'm Lee and he's me or whatever. But you know what? Law enforcement is going to get involved there now.
Well, let's talk about Bob Hesley.
Thanks a lot for that.
So Kevin, you contacted Bob Hesley's son. Of course, Bob Hesley is an older man. I think I looked it up. I think he's like 75. So his son is probably around my age. He's probably in his 40s or early 50s, something like that. And so you contacted his son and informed him of what's going on with his dad. And what did his son have to say?
He kind of was like resistance, kind of, wasn't admitting to things and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'm coming to you like a man, dude. And, either because I reached out to Bob, his real account, not the fake Christopher account that Lee got in contact. And I didn't, and supposedly if this guy's on, internet all the time, making ridiculous comments on Christopher's live stream. The same thing. I'm going to meet you. Well, he's in his Facebook group, so why would he have to reiterate every live stream every day? I'm coming. If he's saying the same thing. So I reached out to him after 4 days went by, I did a background check legally to find out what's going on. So I contacted his son. His son was kind of resistant, kind of was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was just trying to be like, hey, I gave him everything to look at. I'm like, look, your dad's got 3 Facebook accounts, one created in 2009, which I know is his, another created in 2019, which is when I think he met Christopher. And then Christopher made another one, which is the one Lee contacted that Christopher created in February of this year. So basically I was telling him, I'm like, look, this is what's going to happen. We're going to take legal action. We just wanted your dad to know if he's involved with it or not. If he's involved with Christopher, meaning is he really going to meet him, and is he really a believer, and is he helping Christopher make these fake accounts and in on the Facebook group to hype himself up? So basically, he's like, all right, let me check this out. So I'm thinking, all right, the next day, I said, well, let me know what's going on. I figured the next day he would contact me back. Didn't hear from him, left him a message. Then I texted him. I said, look, if I don't hear back from you guys, I'm following through. I'm following the motions, going to get a police report, going to contact the FBI, put it all, because like I said, this is my first rodeo. And then after I text him, he texted me back saying, the guy is insane.
The guy referring to Christopher Mitchell?
He said the guy is insane. And I haven't heard from him back since. And I just told him, I said, fine. I said, well, I'm going to the police report. I'm going to, police and contact the FBI, doing the motions, and, we'll let them sort it out. And you don't have to worry about me contacting again. But I did contact. I said, hey, you might want to tune into this podcast tonight because, we're going to blast that shit. So
yeah, well, so I don't think that Bob Hesley, whatever his role is, I think that he's been tricked in some way, whatever it is. So even if he's sharing accounts of Christopher Mitchell or making Facebook comments that Christopher asked him to post or even gave Chris to post as him, whatever's happening, or if none of this, even if he's just a staunch supporter and this is all legitimately him, it doesn't, whatever it is, he's an old guy. He's 75 years old. And he clearly he has some association with Christopher, and I believe he was probably tricked. He was probably bamboozled into this. And I think if his son is listening right now, or if Bob is listening, it's just important to know that your dad is being sold a system that does not work and is mathematically proven not to work. and that if you take a look at my site, pokerfraudalert.com, there's a whole thread about this where you can see it all broken down exactly why this doesn't work. Or you could just Google martingale strategy, and there's a million different videos and articles about why the martingale strategy has been mathematically proven not to work. So not only shouldn't your dad use that in the casino ever, but he shouldn't pay for coaching on how to learn to use it, because that will just cost him a lot of money. And so that's important, and it's important to I don't ever blame elderly people when they're bamboozled into going along with or helping out with some kind of scam or vouching for some kind of scam. Because
I wouldn't say helping out, but the guy's 75 years old. He's lived a long life. He's seen it all and probably done it all. But the fact is, okay, screw the strategies. Oh, there goes me saying it wrong. I don't give a fuck. Screw all that. The fact is, okay, somebody came to your son and alerted you to something serious. Hey, this guy reached out to a fake account. Christopher got it. Whether you gave him the information or not, I don't believe he gave it to Christopher. That's Christopher's fake account that Lee accidentally messaged. And this is what's going on. I laid it all out. I've done this before. I've got contacts from the FBI. I've gone down this road. I'm letting you guys know. I don't think he's in on it, but if he is, this is what's going on. He's got 3 fake accounts. He's in his Facebook group, all this stuff.
Well, okay, I'll say this. It's not a bad idea that you contacted him and gave him this information, because anything that ultimately results in kind of scaring, when I say scaring, I don't mean like physically scaring, like threatening him, but kind of like making him leery about, okay, this is all too weird. I'm afraid of the FBI getting involved, the police getting involved. I'm afraid that Christopher Mitchell's acting weird. You know what? Before I thought I'm going to just get some good gambling coaching. This whole thing's weird. Now I'm staying away. If the end result is he doesn't come in July and doesn't give a penny to Christopher Mitchell, then a good thing has been done. And then it's actually one fewer person has been ripped off by this BS gambling coaching that Christopher's selling, and then it's good. And sometimes it is necessary to contact the adult children of elderly scam victims, because the elderly scam victim will be too stubborn to listen to a stranger about it. And it's not like you're harassing the kid. You're letting them know this is what your elderly father's involved in. And while he can probably still make his own decisions, at least the son has some influence. And I know if now this wouldn't happen because my dad's still very sharp, but if I was contacted that my dad, who's around Bob Helsley's age, if I was contacted and told my dad was being scammed, and then I first of all, I would really look into it very carefully. And second, if I believed he was, I would be very, very, very insistent that he doesn't continue with it. Like, you guys can imagine what I would do. Now, as I said, this wouldn't happen, at least not now, because even though my dad is around that age, he's not susceptible to that. He's still very sharp. He still seems just like the same guy I always knew. But many people, people's brains deteriorate at different rates, and so sometimes the adult child does need to go and protect the parents from things happening, and the only way they can protect them is if someone informs them that something's going on. So I don't see any problem in the fact that you would let him know this. In fact, it can end up that just, even if they can't make a full decision of who's right and who's wrong, they may just throw up their hands and go, you know what? This whole thing is so weird. This whole thing is just so much drama. Screw it. We're just staying away from all you guys, which would be great. That would be a great result if that's what happens.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, me and you actually talked about this. We kind of agreed to disagree. And the only reason why I went to the FBI with this is because of what I dealt with Morgenstern. I reached out to, there was 2 agents, one out of Arkansas and one out of Florida, because he committed crimes in both. The one in Florida that I discussed on your podcast, who was really cool. I wish he was involved in the very beginning. And I said, hey, this is what's going on. And, I don't want to bother you, but, and basically he said that, he'll see what he can do to get it on a field officer's desk out there in Vegas, and see what they can do. At least we'll maybe run some IPs and, go from there, or have Facebook do it, reach out to them. But
believe it or not,
the
thing now, if you're able to actually get through to someone at the FBI and get them interested in this, then yes, there is some value. But I'll tell you where the real value is. I would love to say that the real value is in the Facebook fake accounts or in what happened to Lee here. And what happened to Lee was a crime, by the way, but it's a matter of actually getting the crime prosecuted is sometimes tougher, but there's efforts being made about that. But I'll tell you where the FBI could have some real interest, and that is in the scam itself, because any FBI agent who actually looks into the claims that are being made, it's one thing to just be selling a system that you believe works and you're just wrong about. So if he was just delusional and really believed he had a winning system, but was not actively trying to trick people or lie to them, that would not be a crime. He could be civilly sued for it, but that would be a crime. Where the crime comes in is where you knowingly misrepresent what you're selling to people, and you're knowingly misrepresenting the results when you're selling these systems. And clearly he has. Clearly it can be proven. I'm sure 100% it can be proven in a court of law that he does not average $5,000 a day that he steps into the casino. In fact, I would be very shocked if he averages winnings at all in the casino, if he averages even a $1 win in the casino. So I'm sure he's averaging a loss. There's no way he's averaging $5,000 a day. If he was, he'd be there just every day winning $5,000, and he'd make $1.8 million a year. He wouldn't need to coach anybody. So,
well, that's why we got Rick Lee on too.
Right, and we're gonna get to him in a second. So the point is here that that is misrepresentation. That is where he's selling a losing system and selling it under the guise of the fact that it never loses, and that he wins $5,000 a day doing this, and just about never walks out without being a winner, and that just about no day passes where he's gambling where he doesn't win. And that can be that can easily be proven in various ways in a criminal case. Either he can show that he's really won all this money, and then show where it went and how he got it, and the casinos can look at their records, and it can easily be shown if this is true or not, which we know, of course, is not true. Or he was lying about it, in which case he was selling a non-working system that and lying about its results, when in reality he was losing and using this to fund his habit. And since he's trying to do this on a mass scale, so he's not just selling this to his friend down the street, he's selling this on YouTube and trying to get solicit customers around the world. This is where an FBI agent could take an interest in it, and it would be very easy to prove. So if the hardest thing is getting the FBI interested, and if you've already made contact with someone who said, okay, we're going to put this on the desk of a field agent in Las Vegas, who knows? This could be interesting enough to an FBI agent to where they're interested in pursuing it. And that's the whole thing is about getting their attention and getting them interested enough in the case, because as I mentioned, and I know we went back and forth, we're not going to get into that here, but I was talking about when it's a waste of time to go to the FBI and when it isn't, because they get thousands of complaints, especially related to internet scams, every day. And every office gets way more complaints than they could ever handle. Even if they had 10 times the staff, they couldn't handle them all. So they have to pick and choose the ones that go after.
I agree with that. So
they have to pick and choose the ones that go after. I think the best chance that they will actually go after it would be if they take a look and this go, wow, this is kind of interesting. A guy selling a gambling system and claiming he makes $5,000 a day, and openly selling this on YouTube and claiming he has all these clients. That might be, that looks like an ongoing massive scam. We're going to go after him. And even if they look into it,
we're dealing with a guy that left on his Amazon his 5th grade level books. He left reviews on his own books, Christopher Mitchell, and he put great book or something like that. And then you can see where there's actual real people leaving reviews on it, and then there's these anonymous, and they're all great. Oh, great story, great. Great heartache, and way to go. Just and it's all anonymous reviews. So he did this before, and that's the thing. Was the big thing I got the FBI involved is because he's creating these fake accounts. Whether Bob Hesley gave him the green light to, or he didn't. The fact is, there's 2 other Bob Hesley's accounts, all created after meeting Christopher this year, and how many other accounts did he create to add them to his Facebook group, because Bob Hesley clearly is, and he's under these fake accounts saying, yeah, Christopher's this, or I won money this way. That's where the big scam is, and that's why I wanted to get the FBI involved, because that's what we were talking about. That's the big scam. He's probably, how many fake accounts is in his Facebook group talking to people where they think they're actually talking to somebody else.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true.
Saying,
like,
I want all this money,
No, I agree. I'm sure there's shill accounts there, and I'm sure that's part of it. But really, the very big basis for this whole thing is the fact that he's claiming false results and then attempting to sell a system for a lot of money to the general public through YouTube, and that's what's most likely to attract their attention. And all this other stuff is kind of on the side that they'll discover along the way. I want to ask Lee something here. Lee, have you gotten? I know that video was up for 6 hours. It had your phone number up there. It had your social. Aside from Kevin, who called you to warn you, has anybody called you who saw your number in that video and harassed you in any way, or have you not gotten any contacts?
No, I've actually not received any kind of contact or anything like that.
That's good.
And since that time, I'll kind of go through with actually what I've done. I don't want to maybe discuss everything that I've done.
No, don't.
No. But on Sunday, the one of the first things I did, again, I contacted the private investigator. I actually did record that call, or I may have recorded that call as well. He told me not to record it. Whatever.
No, it doesn't matter. You're in a state. You're actually allowed to record whatever you want in Nevada. It's legal.
So anyway, yeah. So anyway, this private investigator, he sounded scared out of his mind. And actually, one of my favorite parts of the call with him is when I told him that the video was still up. He lets out a big sign. He goes, "This fucking guy." So anyway, I contacted the private investigator the day after on Monday. I actually visited one of the police stations. I asked them if there was any kind of report taken on me, and they said no. There was not a police report.
Yeah, of course not.
But they wouldn't actually let me make a report. They actually referred me to the FBI, saying that this is an internet crime. Now, what I did do is as soon as I got back in my car, on my phone, I did write up a pretty lengthy report and reported it to the FBI on their internet reporting thing or whatever.
Internet crime.
And I actually I wasn't satisfied with the answer, so I drove to another precinct, and I kind of got the same pushback there, and I demanded to speak with a supervisor, and one of the, I don't know, he was a cop, whatever his rank was. He came out and talked to me, and he kind of heard me out. He said, unfortunately, though, since I live in Henderson, I would need to file this in Henderson, and I actually just haven't got around to actually going there yet. Just the police station's hours are really weird.
What?
And,
come on, man.
Oh, by the way, just to let everybody know. Just to let everybody know, Henderson, for those of you that don't know the Vegas area well, that is right next to Las Vegas. It's in the Las Vegas area, and it's just a separate city. So that's what they were saying. You can't report this since you live in Henderson. You got to report it to your own police department in Henderson, even though you're in the Vegas area. So that's what he's saying here.
I'm shocked to hear that, Lee. I'm shocked to hear that.
Well, so also since then, I've actually called. I've probably called at least 8 different attorneys over this past week, and all of them try to claim that they don't take these kind of cases. I actually have a friend of mine who is a prosecuting attorney for the Indianapolis Police Department. So I actually had a pretty lengthy phone call. It was about a 3-hour long phone call with him.
Oh, wow.
I think on Thursday, and he tried to, he's licensed in Indiana, not Las Vegas or Nevada, but he tried to help me out by looking up some laws and trying to, basically break down the laws for me. And he claimed that without really any kind of financial damages, it would really be hard to find a lawyer to really try to take my case, unless I wanted to spend tons and tons of money on this.
You can do it. You can do it yourself, though.
You can.
Right. And you're probably better off just like getting, there's those services now. You may have to have attached your social for 10 years, and you can probably get a bill of $5,000 and sue him in small claims court or something.
Well, he doesn't want to pay. He doesn't want to pay $5,000 up front, though.
I don't know. A lot of counties, and there's always legal aid that people do stuff on pro bono. So.
Well, he's got a few years to figure. I think he probably has 2 to 3 years to figure out what he wants to do. Like if he wants to sue in small claims or what he wants to do. It may be worth doing. Right. It is true. He's right that the damage is. It's hard to quantify because you don't know. Okay, so his social security number and all his address and all his phone number, all his info was right up there. And anyone who it's not there anymore. I wouldn't be alerting you guys to it if it was, but it's been gone. It was up for 6 hours, but it was up, and people who wanted to use this to steal his identity or do other very bad things where otherwise it'd be hard to come by this information can now. So even if at the moment nothing has happened, he doesn't know if sometime down the line it's going to happen. It could even happen down the line after the statute of limitations to sue him runs out. So for that reason, since there were at least 700 views of this video, and you don't know who those 700 people were, you could claim there are some damages because of this private information got out and Christopher maliciously put it out. It didn't just accidentally slip out. He put the paper right up to the camera and held it there so you could all see it. And the video set up for 6 hours. So that could be claimed as some form of damage. I see where there's some hesitation, especially lawyers don't want to take cases on contingency if they don't think there's a super high chance they're going to win. And if they don't take it on contingency, then you got to waste a lot of your own money. Lawyers are very expensive if you're paying them by the hour, as I'm sure you all know. And to do that when the case is not a slam dunk, it's a slam dunk that he did it and you can prove he did it. It's not a slam dunk that you would win damages. Now, if someone had taken this information and caused some harm with it by now, then he would have damages, but that hasn't happened yet, thankfully. But it could. I hope it doesn't, and I hope for Lee's sake it doesn't.
Yeah, because it's not just him involved; his wife too. There's a thing called pain and suffering, and he can take them to small claims court himself. He doesn't need a lawyer.
Yeah,
that's his wife too. His wife too was involved. And now they could be living in fear. I'm not saying to act like a pussy on air, but hey, this guy could be living in fear. His wife could be living in fear, wondering what the hell is going on. They both were innocently attacked, and still to this day, it's one thing. The PI called him up and said, "Hey, take that down. You got the wrong guy," but he's still telling his viewers that are on videos that are getting 1,500 to 2K views, that it's still him.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's a good point.
Anybody that still has his information or copied it still could believe it's him.
And that's a good point. That's a good point that not only did he do this, but that when it was brought to his attention, even by the PI, that he made a mistake, that he doubled down on it and the next day continued to claim that the information is real, and the only reason he took it down is because they were harassing his PI, and the PI was tired of being harassed. So again, making him the bad guy.
He actually claims that it was taken down by YouTube.
Oh, he claims by YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That one of our forum members said that. One of our forum members caught that.
Yeah.
She said. She's like, yeah. He said it that he goes. YouTube took it down. Here's
the funny thing: if YouTube took it down, the channel would be down right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's a great point that Lee just brought up here. That he violated a massive YouTube rule, and I want to send out a plea here to everybody who's listening. If you have any connection to anyone who works at YouTube, please let me know, because all we want is for someone who works at YouTube, and I'm still looking for this, someone who works at YouTube to go watch that video. Because they can. Just because Christopher deletes it doesn't mean it's gone off YouTube. It's just gone to where it can't be accessed by the public. But YouTube is still on their servers, and employees of YouTube can access it. So now the problem is reporting it. You can't report a video that doesn't exist anymore if you're just a regular person. But anybody who works at YouTube is listening, or who knows someone who works at YouTube, please get a hold of me or A Hoosier A, or even Kevin, and let us know, because we want them to go watch this video. And by the way, we're not looking to lie or exaggerate. We want them to just go watch the video itself that that Christopher deleted, and see the Social Security number and other information that was put up about Lee in strict violation of YouTube rules. And I have a feeling his channel is going to be gone. If YouTube caught that before he deleted it, the channel would very likely be gone because it's a huge no-no. You cannot dox people, especially with Social Security numbers, on YouTube. That's in fact in California it's illegal.
Unfortunately, because I keep saying this to beat a dead horse in the ground. This isn't my first rodeo. Because I went through the shit with Morgenstern, he did 100 times worse, and it took forever to get his channel taken down. The thing is with Christopher, he has 20 times less subscribers. He has 20 times less views than Morgenstern, because Morgenstern had a viral video from when he caught Bet Online cheating. But the fact is, it takes forever. And so if anybody is listening, this is what you need to do. My video showed shows how to do it. You go to his actual channel. There's an about. You don't go to a certain video. You just go to the channel.
Oh, really? The channel? Okay.
Exactly why it's a scam. Let's get into Rick though. We can talk about Rick. Let's lead into that one.
Yeah. Okay. So Rick Lee is a former customer of Christopher Mitchell's, and this has always fascinated me. I always love when former customers come forward of things like this, so we can understand how it all came. And basically, it's a look into what was really going on, because the rest of us can only see this from the outside. We're never going to be in his Facebook group. We're never going to really be involved in any real intimate time with him. So, Rick, how did you get to know Christopher Mitchell? How did you find him in the first place?
Well, so first, when I was gambling, I was losing some money, and then I basically told myself that I need a strategy or a system if I really wanted to gamble. So I just went to YouTube, and I saw him, and I started watching him, and then I haven't even bought his strategy until probably late of December after Christmas, and I bought it, and I was kind of shocked because it's a PDF. It was really simple. It's just martingale and hop tables. I didn't even use it. I didn't even use it until probably I started losing some more money, and that I decided let me try it. And I tried it, and then still wasn't working. So that's when I decided to contact him and said, "Hey, I need some help. I need a game plan, and what can we do?"
Okay, so how much did he charge you for this this PDF that was very simple, just saying to martingale and jump tables?
First, you can choose to buy the baccarat or the blackjack. If you buy both, it's $750. If you buy only one, it's I think $500. So I paid him $500. And if you still want the blackjack, you're supposed to pay him $250. But he had a Christmas special, what do you call it? And then
Christmas special.
He basically charged me, he charged $100. So I just Venmo him $100. So I got both.
Okay, so you got both, and so now I am wondering this here.
Well, because he reaches out he wants to be nice to people. He gave him a Christmas bonus. Hey, from $750 to $500.
So okay, I want to ask, when you saw these systems weren't quite what you were expecting, that they were too simple, it was just martingale and jump tables every so often. Why did you think that? And I'm asking this seriously. I'm not trying to be judgmental. Why did you think that meeting him in person was going to be any different than what was on those papers?
Well, keep in mind, baccarat was a new game to me. I just started playing probably within 2 weeks. Before I was playing roulette for like 5-6 years, and that wasn't working well either. So I said, well, seeing his videos and he's showing the money and keep winning, and I said maybe he's doing something that I'm not doing, or maybe I'm still new to the game, so maybe there's something else to it. So I decided I only lost $40,000 in January, so as well go ahead and go to meet him up, and maybe he can teach me more, or maybe by luck, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. So that's when I decided to contact him, and I guess he said, well, that's a good idea. And he basically said, okay, I would charge you $2,500 for coaching for 1 day. And basically I told him, I'm already lost $40,000. I can't afford $2,500. Is there another plan or another you can work with me? And then we end up, saying, okay, $1,000. So I said, okay, that will work. So that's when I went to Vegas and gave him $1,000. But when I got there, he basically, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Since I already told everybody on YouTube that I'd coach him for $2,500, when I made you $10,000, and you gave me the other $1,500, and that's why. I mean, we didn't make $10,000. We made I think 8,000-9,000 for 2 days.
Okay, so let me go back just a tiny bit. How did you initially find him at all? What led you to him in the first place?
I was just going online and trying to see what kind of game is the best edge, and then Baccarat came, and I started watching it, watching the game, and then his YouTube started coming up.
Okay, so you just kind of found his YouTube channel and then went from there.
Yeah, by accident.
By accident. Okay. So getting back to the Vegas trip, so you went to Vegas and you won with him, and so basically his. What was it like? You were basically going from casino to casino, spending a small time in each and martingaling?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, bottom line, he never hopped tables. We've been there. I went with him, I believe, 12 casino in 2 days or something like that. And then basically he just bet banker, and then basically if he lose, he just double up in martingale until he wins. And if we get lucky. We win between 5, because we use a black chip, $100, and then we just basically win between 500 to 1,500, and we leave. And then
let me cut you off. Let me cut you off real second, Lee. So let's get this straight, everyone. Lee, you were with him for 2 days, and all he did was bet banker in Martindale.
Rick,
You mean Rick Lee? So we have Lee and we have
what did
Rick
I say?
Lee. You said Lee.
Hey, I'm on my fifth fighter. I'm buzzing right now.
No, it's understandable because it's similar. We have Rick Lee and then we have Lee. It's very confusing. So okay, so Rick, yeah. So just Kevin is just clarifying that really all he was doing is martingaling and then leaving after a short time if you're successful enough at the martingaling to win between like 500 to 1,500, right?
Right. I mean, we have a lot maybe 3 to 4 table. We have problem. Basically almost lost everything, but luckily we got it back. I mean, it was a struggle.
That's what I was going to ask next. About how many times you came close to ruin. So for those of you who don't know, and I've gone over this a lot of times on the show, I'm not going to do a long description here, but with a martingaling, you're betting. If you lose, you double your bet. If you lose, you double that bet. If you lose, you double that bet. And so the theory behind that strategy is once you win once, that you've made back everything you lost previously on the losing streak, plus one small bet, plus the original bet back. So if let's say you start with 100, you go 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600, 3200. Let's say you win the one that's 3200. Then you've wiped out the first losses of the 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600. That wipes all that out, and you end up with a $100 profit, and then you go back to 100. That's the way that system is. It's called martingale, and most of the time, because it would take a number of consecutive losses in a row to wipe out your bankroll, most of the time you walk away a winner. But the problem is, the few times you walk away a loser, you've lost a fortune because you've basically kept doubling until your bankroll couldn't stand it anymore, and then you're broke. So that's why eventually it eats you. And that's why it's negative expectation and with super high variance. But it's deceptively something that people use. They think it's profitable because most of the time they walk away a small winner, and once in a while they walk away a gigantic loser, which wipes out all the previous wins and more. So what I wanted to know here, and you were starting to say it. You said a few times it came close to wiping out the bankroll you had with you. How many losses in a row was that when it was very close?
I believe it was a second casino in Caesars, and basically he had to put out another. I think he buy in, if I remember correctly now, like $12,000, and then he had to buy in another 10. So, and I didn't really. Cause I already lost like 7,000, and then I bought my I bought $10,000 I think, and I got only 3,000 left.
Wow!
But he went in, and then he basically. Progressive, the martingale. I believe he bet 6,000 and he won, and then he bet again, and basically he got his money back. And I didn't bet the same because I didn't have the money. I had only 3,000, but I won some back, so we got up. I made 500. I think he made maybe 1,100. I can't.
So you were like a hair away from getting completely decimated, but you guys got lucky on the final one and won.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
that
what
happens
Martingale is.
sometimes.
Risking
Yeah,
your
that
entire bankroll to just get that one bet you lost back.
Yeah, and that's what happens. So let me, and I mentioned this on a previous show. If you play just 50 hands of baccarat, you are likely, not it may happen once in a while, in just 50 hands, it is likely at some point you will lose 6 in a row. Likely. That is the likely result, is that at some point you will lose 6 in a row when you play just 50 hands. So can you imagine if you play 100 hands, 1,000 hands? Obviously, that goes up way up, and you are going to have some big losing streak like that on a game that's essentially 50-50 like baccarat. So that's, I was wondering how close that was. So even though you walked away a winner, even though that trip was successful by the dollar amount that ended up in your pocket, you won like $8,000 or something. You were very close to decimating the bankroll. You just at the last second won that huge bet when it almost didn't happen.
Right.
So, okay. So
I mean,
what was the next trip you went on with him?
After I came back from Vegas, I mean, that was up 12,000. With my play also by myself, and then went to Biloxi, and that trip was a disaster because when I got there on Hot Rock, and there was I believe 9-player streak came down, and basically I followed his bet, and I have $15,000 bankroll. I lost that in 20 minutes or so, and I believe he lost about 20 or 25,000. And then after that, he didn't want us to follow him. It was a mess, but he decided not to. His excuses that he wanted to try something new with his BS, because the only thing he does is basically bet on banker 95% of the time and Martingale. So that's how he lost 36,000 after he won't allow us to follow him.
And then he made that video admitting he lost 36,000. Was it because you and some other people were there to see it, and he's afraid the word would get out?
Well, not other people were there to see it. They lost too. Clarify that, Rick.
Yeah. Kirk lost and Tommy lost. Everybody lost at that session right there. Everybody lost. And then I guess we played by ourselves pretty much. And then the next day he said, let's meet up at the coffee shop. And then he said, okay, because I don't like to group coach no more, I'm not going to do it no more because it distracts him and you can't think. And there's a lot of people, distract him. Yeah, and all that stuff. And then, we just kind of, okay, that's fine.
I'm distracted. I can't bet Banker and Martingale with all these people watching.
Yeah. So basically, that's what happened. And then he lost some more. And then he basically saying that he used some different strategy. He didn't use no other strategy. I mean, that's what he did. I mean, that's all I've been seeing, Banker and Martingale. That's it.
Yeah, and
so there is witnesses of him lying. Oops.
So he was saying in his video where he was bashing you because after you posted some comments on Kevin's video about what had gone on, he got very upset.
No, wait, Todd, you're getting out of. There's more. Wait, there's more. Before you get off the track, wait, there's more. Rick met him in Vegas.
I never say nothing. Okay, I never say nothing negative or trash about CM. I mean, gambling, we lose. I don't know. Suddenly, he just kicked me out
of his group, of his Facebook group. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Rick, you're getting off track. Did or did you not? A week later, did or did you not meet him in Vegas again?
Yeah, second time. Basically, I met CM 3 times, 3 trips. I went back to Vegas and met him, and that's when he lost 30,000, and I lost another roughly 10,000, and then my other money 5,000. So yeah, it was another disaster.
Yeah, it was a disaster. So then right after that, he kicked you out of the Facebook. Did he kick you out of the Facebook? What did you say that got him angry, or did he just kick you out for no reason?
Well, after I lost that second Vegas, I didn't really want to follow him. He even texted me. I still have his text saying that if you want to, gamble tomorrow, but I don't want your girlfriend or your friend or my wife to follow us. We just me and you. Basically, that's another excuse of him saying that, I don't know, bad luck or getting distracted again. But anyway, I didn't answer him. And then for about a week and a half, I never post anything. I never write anything on the Facebook. And then suddenly one day I was kicked out. I texted him, and he basically said that I never post anything, and I never, comment anything on his Facebook, and then I talk trash behind him. And I never did. I mean, I basically I tell the truth. I just say, we lost, we win, we lost. I mean, that's it.
Now, I'm curious, what goes on inside that Facebook group? What is it like in there? What are the discussions? What are people saying there? Like, what happens in that?
At the beginning, it was great. I mean, and he didn't have the big head like, before he was telling us, manage your money, bet small, and then gradually, if you feel comfortable, learn his strategy and get comfortable with it. But within a month and a half, 2 months, he's starting to tell people, you need a big bankroll, and then if you don't have a big bankroll, you're not going to win. You're not going to have enough money for backup, for martingale to 6, stuff like that. And it was okay at the beginning, but now I believe a lot of my friends and all that, it's not there no more because what he did to me, and also it's just that he's just dishonest and he tell those white lies.
How many members were in that? Yeah, how many members were in that group? Do you know?
When I left, it was between 108, 109.
I wonder how.
And also, I want to tell you, one of his videos, he always said he was treating me, my fiance, and my friend with nice 5-star dinner and all that, and he make it sound like I didn't pay for dinner. I gave him $300 to pay our second dinner. And he's the one that tried to act rich, okay? I was really pissed about that. I gave him $300 because we went to a $700, dinner. I mean, we didn't really we just want to, get something simple, but he just want to, show people that he's rich and all that stuff. And
Rick,
well, that's part of the scam.
Hey, Rick, this is Lee Bradbury here. I actually got a question for you. So during the 3 trips that you went with him, was he giving the pit boss and stuff his player card?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Yeah, that's how he's getting all those free rooms.
Well, that's you know what that can be his undoing because, and this is what I thought might be the case. This could be his undoing because since he's giving the player card, they have a record of what he's winning and losing. Whereas his only possible defense about that he's doing better than the casino thinks he is that he doesn't give cards. But if they're showing that he's a loser overall, which I'm sure he is, then there's no way he could be claiming I'm making $5,000 every day. And if he tries to say, well, that's the times when I don't give my card, first of all, that's very hard to believe. Second, the burden of proof would be on him to say that. He to show that. He couldn't just say, oh, I'm making this when I'm not showing the card. The fact that they do have record of him there and he is losing and he can't show that he has a record any of what he claims in his videos, that's the biggest scammy element of this whole thing. If he just said, I have a system here and it works, and it's just because he's an idiot and thinks it works when it doesn't, that could just be a delusional person rather than a scammer. It's when they lie about their results to get customers, that's when it becomes a scam, and that's really appears to be what he's doing.
Well, listen to this, Todd. Here's 2 things I wanted to point out. One, it's props. It could be props. Who's maybe they said, we'll give you this room, and then you can upgrade for a few dollars. Because think about it this way. He'd say he's giving his player's card and all this shit. Here's another thing he says. All these casinos fly him out there. All right. But I tried to get him to say, hey, show us the plane ticket. He keeps saying every casino flies him out to Vegas, which is bullshit. Second of all, he says that they offer him penthouse suites and all this shit. Who would offer penthouse suite? You know just as well as I do, Todd. Who offers somebody penthouse suites when they're admitting that they're only betting 15 minutes and leaving your casino and going somewhere else? Well, yes, who offers somebody a penthouse suite? Bullshit.
That's a good point. I will say, so either he's buying these or it's possible he comes on some dead days, like on a Wednesday during a non-holiday period, and they not the penthouse suite, but maybe he'll get some kind of suite. Like I've seen pictures of him in the suites. I believe he's really getting them. He might be paying for them. He might be paying for an upgrade. He might be he might be getting comped because he's lost a lot of money there, and because it's an off night and they have it open anyway. So once in a while you get a suite because there's a problem with your room. I've been put in some great suites. I remember like in New Orleans. I don't want to get into a long story about myself, but New Year's I was in New Orleans as I went from 2013 to 2014. January 1st, 2014, my very first view of my first morning of the new year was this nasty sewage bubbling up from the shower that, not just a little bit, I mean, it was full of this black sludge. It bubbled up over the bathtub. We had some clothes hanging in the bathtub. It got on the clothes. It was a disaster, and it was because they were doing some plumbing work and screwed up. So I was so upset about this. So they, as a peace offering to me, put me in one of the best suites in Harrah's New Orleans. Now, it wasn't for my play. It was because a bunch of crap bubbled up from a bunch of sewage bubbled up into my room. That's why they did it. So I could have made a video that said, folks, this is where they're putting me because I'm winning so much money and I'm betting so big. And that wouldn't have been true. But
folks.
So it could be stuff like that he'll record these videos in these hotel rooms where he has a suite when he gets one in some way that isn't related to his gaming. It could either he bought it or he gets it in some way because there's a problem.
Yeah. Folks. I think you guys are missing one of the possible angles. Maybe he has a gay host and he's doing some favors.
Kyle Prescott's coming out.
Yep. But Rick Lee, I got one more question for you.
Sure.
During the 3 trips that you met with him, how many times did he say "folks" in real life?
I mean, he videoed his day while he's walking. I mean, I don't even pay attention, honestly.
But does he act different? Does he act different in person than he does in the video?
Let's clarify this, Rick. Let's clarify this. You played 5 days with him. Two your first night you met him, another night in Biloxi, and then 2 in Vegas. That's 5 nights, right? I'm getting this correctly. Five
nights. But the second Vegas trip, only 1.5. Yeah, you can say it's 5 nights. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. Okay. And just to clarify for everybody, in those 5 nights, you witnessed him lose $56,000.
Yes, roughly, yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Ooh.
So there.
I wonder where that money came from.
He won $20,000 back the next day.
You know what?
I don't know if that's a lie or not.
It may be, but I mean, it's interesting. He even had $56,000 to bet there. I wonder where he accumulated that. Though it could have been, it could have been a martingale streak that just didn't go bad for a while. That he got lucky for a while, and then it eventually comes.
And the $750 that everybody gave him.
Right. So that's that too. It's probably a combination of both, and that's what happens with the martingale. You can get lucky for some time. You just never know when it's going to come. It could come the next one. It could come. It's almost like take a gun with let's say instead of having 6 Russian roulette where you're spinning the gun and pull it. Let's say there was a giant chamber there where you could load 50 bullets. You could probably pull the trigger on that 10 times. And you're not going to kill yourself. But if you keep pulling the trigger over and over, one of the times that 1 in 50 chance is going to come through, and the bullet's going to go in your head, and you're going to be dead. It's like that. It's that that bullet of the martingale going bad is always waiting there to hit you, and it's not so unlikely to where it is going to happen eventually. It's not like one of these chances that's so tiny it won't happen. It will happen. And the only way that the chance could be so tiny that it wouldn't is if you're betting something meaningless. So if you're a billionaire, and if they would let you keep doubling your bet all the way up to $1 billion, which they wouldn't, but if they did, if you started with $1, you probably never end up losing. But you know what the problem is? You'd be a billionaire making $1 every time. So that wouldn't be worth your time. So that's the problem.
When you were talking about that earlier, you're not even mentioning all the juice this guy's charging.
Right.
You guys said they should go look at the martingale on the internet. That's not even counting how much money he's charging them.
Well, that was when he was charging the flat rate. We're talking about just for the coaching. Then the newer idea he had was that he's going to charge everybody 50% of whatever their profits are, which is especially insane. So
wow.
So Rick wasn't with him when that was happening. That came later, and I don't think he's seen anyone under the circumstances yet because he came up with that idea while the casinos were shut down, and they're just starting to reopen. It will be interesting to see if he returns to the casinos with new customers or even returning old customers.
No, we got a little plan for that.
Okay.
Once he's in, we're going to put him in. We're going to try to get him in the OSN. So, okay. And that should be not a problem because no casino is going to want to be having them have a platform giving them a platform for a scam. So, and I got a buddy that, have you ever heard of Small Cap Growth?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, he's
Small Cap Growth actually posts. He posts on my Vegas Casino Talk forum. That's how I know him. I don't really know him, but I've seen him post there. So that's where I know the name.
For those that are listening, Small Cap Growth won $2.6 million card counting.
Interesting. Well, that's an interesting story there, Rick. And I'm sorry you ran into all that. If I can give you any advice here, it's number one, if you do want to learn any kind of systems or anything, it's to learn from a very reputable card counter or someone. And Baccarat, you're not going to ever get over on them there. But if you want to like learn blackjack card counting, the good thing is you have some cover already because you've already lost so much money, and they clearly don't think you're a positive expectation gambler. You could actually go a while before they'd catch on to the fact that you've figured it out, that you've switched and learned positive expectation strategies like card counting. So either learn how to do that or advantage play, or just quit casino gambling, because otherwise it's going to get you. Like it already has, but it's
right.
That's what happens is eventually anyone who gambles in the casino without an actual mathematical edge and a bank, and even if you gamble with a mathematical edge, you have to have the bankroll to sustain it. And you have to bet the right amounts to where you're not risking. But especially if you're not gambling with positive expectation. It will get you, and you're going to go broke. I've known so many people. I've known poker. I'm a poker player. That's mainly what I do. Is I'm a professional poker player, and I've been for many years. I have a World Series of Poker bracelet, but I'm actually mainly a cash player. I'm not even a tournament player that much. But I've known a lot of people in poker, great players, made millions in poker, made more money than I did in poker, and yet they're broke because they lost it all in the casino. Or betting sports, not knowing what they're doing. Like there's a lot of ways gambling can, and I'm sure you've heard it many times before. I'm just telling you as someone who is a professional gambler and has done all this for many years, and that's what I would suggest from this point forward. You seem like a nice guy. I don't want to see you lose any further money than you already have, and it sounds like it hasn't been a very good year for gambling for you so far. So that would be my advice to you. And I'm glad you've at least seen the light, and that you're willing to come forward here on a show like this, and I believe Rick. He sounds very sincere. He sounds like he's telling us the truth, and in fact,
I wanted to get Rick on record because this is another. Rick left a comment, and this is another thing that Christopher Mitchell took the ball and ran with it. Rick left a comment saying the money that CM has is real, and then Christopher Mitchell, of course, said, Rick talked all this shit or whatever, and then he held up his stack of fake prop money. He said, well, at least Rick said one thing, that my money is real. Let's get it on record, Rick. When you said that his money is real, you meant the money that he was gambling with in the casino and lost. Exactly. Not that you're not vouching for that fake stack that he's holding up, right?
Yeah, the one on the video, I don't know. I'm talking about the one I saw and I touched, or when I saw him play on the table. That was real.
Well, yeah, probably. I doubt he'd be dumb enough to bring counterfeit money to the casino. So probably at the time he lost the $56,000, he probably really did lose a real $56,000 in the casino then, and Rick probably saw real money. I agree with Kevin. It's the current money he's holding up is very suspicious because all the different times he tries to respond to Kevin's accusations about the money being fake and says he'll prove it, but then he never does it, or he'll partially do it for like a few $1,000s and then stop, and then he'll be like right at a bank and not show it there, not deposit it there to show it's real. Like he always stops short of ever really proving it, yet he's done multiple videos insisting he's going to prove it. So it's not like he's not responding.
10 days ago, he said on camera when he was walking with his wife, and his wife wheels the stroller out in oncoming traffic, he said that one of his believers, one of his followers and subscribers sent him the counterfeit pen. And he said that he was going to go and do that video and prove it. And then once he did it, he was going to deposit all that money into a bank to prove it once and for all. Has he done it? Hell no.
Yeah. So
and to point out one thing, I don't think I actually posted this in the thread, but I know that I messaged this to Kevin and Todd. In one of his last videos with his money counter, I got the brand name off of it, and I actually emailed the company. It's Casita. I asked them, I said, hey, is there any way, I said that I came across a video where it looked like some people was using Hollywood money and running it through your cash counting machine. I said, is there a way to do that without showing counterfeit bills? And I got a response back from the business development manager at Casita Sales. He said, sure, just turn off all the counterfeit detection. So when he's running this money through the machine, it means absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah, that's right. That's a prop he's using recently. He keeps running the money through a bill counter, and to imply that it has to be real. And as Lee just mentioned, he actually contacted the manufacturer of the machine that said, oh yeah, you can just turn off the counterfeit detection, and then you can run whatever you want. It'll count it. I mean, I could probably make fake $100 bills with crayons and run it through that. It would count if I turn off the detection. So
that's why he's not doing the counterfeit pen detector. He's not depositing money in his account. He's not going to the ATM and showing you his balance because the money is not real.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, and that's what's. Otherwise, he would have proven it by now. Because like when I heard the stories about Rick, I actually thought, well, maybe it is real because he had enough to lose in Biloxi all that money and in Vegas all that money shortly after. But then he's gone through such lengths to avoid proving it, and yet keeps saying he will. So he's acknowledging that he wants to prove it, and then just never does. And that's whenever I've seen that.
If I'm holding up money multiple times saying it's real, and some guy's calling me out saying it's bullshit, and I know it's real, I'm definitely going to prove to somebody that it's real, especially when it's interfering with my business. And has he? Hell no.
Yeah. So
Mike Morgenstern did the same exact shit, except Mike Morgenstern's stack was like really bullshit. Like he never held it up. He'd always hold it on his side. Christopher has fake Chinese counterfeit. I don't say counterfeit because it sounds like it's fake. It's actually, you can make it as close to counterfeit as possible over in China, and like you can get like $50,000 for literally only like $40.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that's a likely that is a likely thing here, and I think we've said everything we need to say. I thank you guys for all appearing on here. Lee, I hope nothing further happens here, and of course you've got some time to decide exactly what you want to do about the situation with being doxxed here. I'm sorry that had to happen to you. And Rick Lee, thank you for coming on, and Kevin, thank you for once again coming on the show and discussing all this all better.
I wanted to give a shout out to one of my main researchers who's been with me through thick and thin from the Morgenstern days, and now Christopher Mitchell, and now we've exposed sent Brunson FX to the hills. We're going after, and he goes by the name of Trapper Joe on my YouTube, and without him, this wouldn't all be possible. So I got to give a big shout out to him.
Okay, well, thank you. And YouTube Scam Exposers is the name of Kevin Davis's channel. He releases new content almost every day, so check that out. And thank you to all of you.
Yeah, Druff, I actually want to just, I do want to move on from talking about this fucking idiot, but I just want to go on record and say that, this guy, like, he fucks me, and, the Social Security number is concerning. I've taken steps as far as, contacting credit bureaus and locking down my credit in regards to that. But, I had planned on talking about the video, but actually I think that probably only 3 of us in this conversation and listening to the radio, maybe 4 if you include Christopher Mitchell, because we know that he's listening or going to be listening, but nobody else saw it. But, my name's Lee Bradbury. Even prior to this Christopher Mitchell thing, in the forum itself, it's not been hard to figure out who I am. I've said, hey, I got 41st place in this tournament before. You could go to, the Venetian records and look to see who got 41st place if you really wanted to know my name. I don't care. That's why I was contacting Bob Hesley, which I'm actually mad at myself about because, one of my former careers, I was a skip tracer, and one of the things I've always looked at just is to see, you know, if accounts are real or anything like that. And that's one of the things that I'm actually mad about myself, because when I messaged this Bob Hesley guy, I honestly just didn't look at like how many friends he had or if he posted or anything like that. I didn't see that there was 3 other Bob Hesley accounts out there. I really just did a quick search, found the same picture that was on his YouTube page, sent him a quick message, and never really thought anything of it. Before last Sunday, I thought about Christopher Mitchell on 3 different occasions. 2, I've trolled him on his videos, asking him about the gay porn, and 1, I sent this Bob Hesley guy a message. To be honest, I understand that Kevin is pretty relentless and he's very passionate about this. I've never played Baccarat in my life. I don't play blackjack very often. I don't give a shit about this guy. I don't give a shit about his scams. I mean, if people were dumb enough to buy it, and I'm not trying to talk shit about Rick Lee or anything, that's their issue. If this guy would scam people, I don't like scammers. But I would never go out of my way to call this guy out or anything like that. I might troll him, but I don't give a shit about this guy.
Yeah, and I can tell you guys,
but you're an innocent victim. I mean, you didn't know who you were, just trying to be like Todd said in the very before we even got on, leading up to this, is you were reaching out, doing the right thing. This isn't is he really a scam? I don't know. He's definitely 1,000% scam, and you were trying to do the right thing, and you just, you didn't expect it. There would be no reason for somebody like you to think, oh, you got the fake account of Christopher Mitchell, unless you've already gone down this road.
It doesn't matter. So. The truth is, he had no idea that this would be coming, obviously, and Christopher shouldn't have done this. And Christopher was a moron to think it was you. I mean, it's especially he had the 2 voices. He had 2 videos he could bring up, one right after the other. He had one of Lee and one of you, Kevin. He could play one, play the other, and go, wait, that's a different guy. That's all he had to do. That's what I would have done if I suspected, if I were in his shoes and I suspected that was really Kevin under this name Lee, I would have said, okay, let me see if I can find this Lee guy. Okay, I found him. Oh, look, here's a video of him. Perfect. I'm going to play his voice, play Kevin's voice. Sorry, different voices against 2 different guys. That's what a normal person would do. An idiot would say, oh, no, it's the same guy. He even tried to laughably claim that they had a voice analysis and they ran it through an advanced program. It said they were the same person. It's so insane the lies he will tell. So, what he's saying is true. I've talked with Lee on and off for a while. I met him at the World Series. He's telling the truth. This is something he just kind of finds amusing. He's not dedicated to this like Kevin has been. So Christopher, you're after the wrong guy here.
But don't get me wrong. Now that he's actually doxed me, I don't want to say piss me off, but he's got my attention. I'm not gonna dedicate my life to getting back at Christopher Mitchell, but there are avenues that I'm gonna take to.
Yeah, but as I was saying when you're off the air, man, you should have took him already. You should have immediately went to Henderson and all this stuff, because you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for other people, because he tipped his hand. He screwed up. If he really, really wanted to try to find me or whatever, he went about it. He just totally screwed himself. He keeps saying I'm threatening to kill him. He's basically saying I've done all kinds of avenues for him to justify trying to find me, and I'm not that stupid.
Well, even if he claimed it was
out of the realm.
Even if he claimed it was justified, you can't go after the wrong person and say, well, even if you had done bad things to him, which I don't think you have. You've just been exposing him. But even if you had done bad things, you can't just go after the wrong guy and harass him without knowing it really is the one who is giving you the hard time. So this is not an excuse to harass an innocent person. So that when I woke up to this. I was sleeping when this happened. I woke up to all these texts, and then when I was so I was so mad about this when I was like, oh my God, this is it bothered me a lot to see this, even though it had nothing to do with me. Oh, and it was funny. I should have had this prepared for radio. He was reading the stuff that was sent to Bob Hesley, and he mentioned me. This is the first time Christopher's ever mentioned me. He's like, he's reading. Okay, so go over to Todd Whittle's forum and read all about it. Todd Whittles? I don't know any Todd Whittles. I have no idea who that is. That's another lie. There's no chance he doesn't know who I am. He's read every post on the thread here. He's heard the shows I've done about him, at least the parts that were about him.
He's done all his homework.
Hey.
That's all he does is sit home and do all his homework.
I want to point out another thing that's funny because I know that both of you guys have actually watched the video. So where you just mentioned, he obviously mispronounces your last name, but he says your name. But then at the end of that video, and I don't know if you watched the whole thing, when he's trying to look up my Hendon Mob information, he looks up my Hendon Mob. He starts making fun of, my Hendon Mob only has like $28,000 in winnings. But then when he goes to look up Todd, he looks up Lee Wittelis. And he does not look up Todd Wittelis because Todd Wittelis would come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars in winnings. And it would go and actually prove that Todd is,
so I didn't see that. So he actually claimed that I had 0 winnings in tournaments.
He claimed that he couldn't find you because he was looking under Lee Wittelis.
Well, okay, Kevin, look up Todd Wittelis. You'll see I have $953,000. It's a little short of $1 million. I'm sure it would have exceeded. It probably would have exceeded $1 million this year if I could play.
Yeah, I know your background. I want to be on your show if I didn't.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not even mainly a tournament player. That's just what I play at the World Series. That mostly I play cash poker. Everybody knows in poker that I've been supporting myself with poker and been a winning poker player, and people have seen it. People used to watch me online. It's a known fact. So I got 128th in the main event last year, cashing 59,000. So Christopher, if you're trying to prove I don't have any poker results, that's going to be that's not going to work out.
No. I guarantee you, he knew that you had poker results. I think that in that video. He
entered it on purpose.
He pulls up Todd Wittelis, and his viewers see that Todd Wittelis has almost $1 million in
he's a cocaine addicted retard, man.
Then they're going to think, oh, well, Todd Wittelis knows what he's talking about because he's got almost $1 million in winnings.
Right, that's a good point. So maybe he didn't want to show it because they go, wait a minute, the guy who has $1 million in cashes is saying Chris is a scammer. Oh, he may have a point here. so.
Exactly.
Well, here's another
and who was on 60 Minutes.
That's right, on 60 Minutes. On 60 Minutes in 2008, exposing another scam. Yeah. So
he literally played the podcast, when he was doing that, when he was making the Lee Bradbury, and he had everything all time stamped. For a guy that says, "Oh, I never watch his videos and I don't pay no attention," he knew exactly the time stamp. He did. So basically, he played a clip from our podcast where it said he showed a video where I said my resume. I've been gambling for 28 years and I played poker against some of the best of the world, Chad Brown, Vanessa Russo, to name just a couple. They're some of the best in the world. And I said I made good money back in the day. I never said I made all kinds. I said I made good money. To me, $15,000 part-time a year, that's not bad money, that I made in 2006, 7, and 8. But he goes and plays that clip where I said I played some of the best in the world and I made good money. In the minute he plays the clip from our podcast, he's like, see, he said he played against Phil Ivey and he played against Doyle Brunson and he made great money. He made millions of dollars. I'm like, holy shit. If anybody did, literally he played the clip on what I said. I said I played against some of the best of the world and I made good money. Yeah. And he adds, the minute he shuts the clip off, then he's like, he adds Phil Ivey he puts Phil Ivey into my words. He puts Doyle Brunson into my words. He said I made millions of dollars when I never did. And I'm like, that's just how he is. That's how he thinks. Yeah.
So. Anyway, it's a lot of stupidity. So, okay. Well, thanks, guys. We got to move on. I got a million other topics to do tonight, and thank you for coming on here. And,
you got Bill.
I appreciate it.
I didn't know what's going on there.
Todd, before tonight, I really appreciated your show, but after you making fun of my social security number issue, I don't know if I can get past that, man.
Yeah, I know that's the sound effects. They have the mind of their own. The sound effects wanted to laugh at you about it, not me.
Well, that's why.
Have a good night, Trader Ruski.
Yeah, I just wanted to get out. That's why we did the But who knows? The reason why I got the FBI involved, because who knows who's going to be the next Lee Bradbury, and he could, somebody else.
One other thing that has been driving me nuts that I want to correct everybody on. Lee Bradbury, not Barry.
Okay. Burry. Okay.
Well, I can't say tragedy, right? So.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, that's the only reason why I went to the FBI, because who's next? He could do this to a bunch of people. He might not post their information, but if somebody else bad talks him and he gets their name, he could hire a private investigator, get their information, and go after them. And they could be like, what the hell's going on, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Well, okay, thanks for coming on, Rick, thank you for coming on here, too. And,
thank you.
And
sure.
Thank you to all of you, and we will move on to our next topic.
All right, thanks, Todd.
And props to Rick Lee forward. That's tough to do, and you saved a lot of people money, I'm sure.
Yeah, he did. That's true. All right, good night, everybody. So that's a good point, though, Trader Ruski, that by a former customer coming forward is probably even more powerful than just critics like us talking about it.
Hey, there's 100 of him for every that didn't come forward, embarrassment or whatever. That's the way that shit's going to stop eventually.
Yeah, it's always good when that happens. That's why he actually made a video bashing Rick Lee, because he knew that's bad news for him. Okay, we will move on to. I know I told people, okay, we're not going to spend a lot of time on the Christopher Mitchell topic again for a while, but I didn't expect that he was going to dox a listener of this show. I didn't expect that was going to happen, is me posting his social. I mean, that's the fact that he posted Lee's social is not a laughing matter. Oh, wait a minute. No. Come on. That's not supposed to happen.